Alright, so people have been asking me for an update on the arcade machine, and so last night I put in all the controls for the control panel and hooked it all up and wired it in and got it running with my laptop. So basically all that's left is to reinsert the control panel, put it back on, let's see, on the arcade cabinet, and then put in the computer and find a monitor and hook it up and get the monitor to be held within the chassis of the arcade cabinet, which is actually over here. Um, this monitor is dead, unfortunately, which really sucks because it'd be really useful to use, and it's hard to get like a monitor that's going to fit in here properly. But I've pretty much de-wired the whole thing. These just basically need to be cut out, but there's all the dead wire. Um, I'm not sure how to really disconnect these things from the two coin boxes because I don't really want to just snip the wires and then regret it. But here's the front. It's really dark, you can't see. There's not much to it. It's basically the control panel's out, but the top it doesn't have its marquee on it anymore. I cleaned it all out and made sure that this was actually like, I'm not sure if this is plugged in. I don't know. And then, yeah, there's a monitor. Can't really see it. Anyways, back to what I've been working on. So we've got your basic one player, two player, blue and red, player one start, player one coin, player two start, player two coin, 6 buttons, joysticks, and let's demo it. Let's see, I've got MAME running here, so I'm just going to play like Tetris. Right now I can't get some of these buttons, one of these buttons to work for MAME. I think it's just this version of MAME just sucks. I have a different version of MAME that's actually way better that I'm going to run instead, and it's actually on the hard drive that I'm going to put into the computer that I'm actually going to put in here. This laptop's not going to go inside of the arcade machine. I have another computer that I've been using that's kind of dead, that's been sitting in my room for a long time, and it's perfect for putting in this arcade cabinet. And I'm like setting up a hard drive for that right now so that it will, and I think it's running Windows XP because it's like a really old computer. I'm not even sure if it can handle Windows 7. Anyhow, I'm going to play one-handed Tetris. I know how to play Tetris. Let's see. So, controls work pretty good, especially if you're using two hands. You never get the long skinny ones when you need it, and then when you say you need the long skinny ones, they just give it to you. Hooray. Alright, cool. You get the idea. So that's MAME. I also have some other emulators on here, including an SNES emulator, which is great. So you can play stuff like Super Mario, one of my favorite games. And the way that these buttons are set up, I actually don't know. I think this might be A, B, X, Y, start, select. There's no way I can play Mario with one hand. But you get the idea. Oh my god. Let's see. Alright. Maybe I can play Mario with one hand. Who knows? Yeah, just your old school Super Nintendo, Super Mario World. Great. I also have N64 on here. I have Genesis. I have like stuff like Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, which is great. basically everything from like your basic Nintendo, and I know I have an Atari too, so everything from your basic Atari all the way up to Nintendo 64 and PlayStation. I'm not sure if I can get PlayStation 2 or how it'd be worth it or how to really do it with like 6 buttons. I might put in 2 extra buttons here and here just so that console games will be easier, or I might just actually get console controllers like an N64 controller or two, or PlayStation controllers or two, and hook them up to the PC, and so you can actually just like kind of like maybe there's a little compartment in the arcade machine that will like you can like dig controllers out of or something and play with those instead. Fun idea. Anyways, let's see what else. In addition to just our emulators in arcade, I actually have Steam working pretty well. So you can play Super Meat Boy, which demands a controller. You need to press start, but okay. And it is really, really fun playing Super Meat Boy with a like actual joystick and button setup. Although the thing about these joysticks is that they're not you can't like kind of like push a little bit on them. It's either all or nothing. So you can't like kind of like grab on edges or anything. Oh God, no! There's no way I can play Super Meat Boy with one hand. Oh man. Maybe I can. Hey, alright, cool. That's really fun, and I also have a bunch of games on here that are meant for controllers, like I have Fez and Limbo and Binding of Isaac, basically mostly indie games. I also have Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I haven't tried that on this machine. It's probably going to break, and it probably will not work at all on the machine that I want to put in the arcade cabinet, but I can always upgrade the machine to be as powerful as I want it to be, maybe if I want to play like those types of games. So that's the basic demo. In terms of how I made it, basically, I got the cabinet off of Craigslist from this one guy who's just got this great little shop down in Hayward that only sells arcade cabinets. I think he probably rents them out and refurbishes them or upgrades them or sells them or whatever. And this was just a broken cabinet. I don't remember what the cabinet. It's called like Matrix Attack. I looked it up. It was like a game from like 2000 or something like that. That I'd never heard of. I think they actually made a console version for Dreamcast or something. But anyways, it was just a blank cabinet. It was $120. He was also selling another one for $80, and that one was like a little too small. Like this whole console thing was like a little too narrow. I wanted the option to put in lots of buttons if I wanted to, and it's also slanted weird. This one's actually pretty perfect. I like the way that it feels when it's actually on the cabinet itself, and I like the way that the screen is slanted here. It's really natural and it feels really good when you're playing it. Basically brought it back home, gutted it, cleaned it. That was annoying. It was like cleaning this thing. Like there was so much like sticky like residue from like the especially from the vinyl covering on here. Obviously this did not look like this when I got it. I took off the acrylic and basically had to peel off the giant like vinyl graphic that was on here, and it left this like just disgusting residue, and I had to like get I clean it off with Goo Gone and like a bunch of other stuff. Here's actually the original controls. I got all these controls off of eBay, but here's like this is the original joystick that it came with. There's some like other buttons back here. Like these are the original dirty white buttons. They're like totally gross from like years of just being in an arcade or sitting around his shop. But anyways, I got these buttons off eBay. They were only like $30 for all the buttons and joysticks and everything, and I have a few extra buttons that I haven't put on here yet. These joysticks actually are a little shallow, or they're really deep in here. Like you can tell, like this is supposed to be a little like this
joystick, where to go? Um, you can tell like maybe it's supposed to like start here, you know, like it's supposed to be only like maybe a half an inch to an inch thick, instead of like a little over an inch thick like this piece of wood is. So this kind of like sits too far down in there. It actually is a problem because you can go up and right, but going diagonal, like there's this really sweet spot like right there where where that's the only place it'll go diagonal, which is really annoying when you're playing stuff like Street Fighter and you want to jump diagonal and it doesn't work properly because you have to get that sweet spot. Sometimes you end up jumping up or going forward instead when you're trying to like, you can roll, but you can hear those two clicks, that's where it goes diagonal. So that I might like make this a little shallower underneath it. But yeah, I just got the buttons like last week, and I actually just installed the buttons last night, which was annoying because I got like 2-day shipping on this eBay purchase, and then PayPal took over a week for it to clear my payment, so like it was totally pointless. And I want to get this all done. I wanted to get it all done before I went to Europe, which I'm going to Europe tomorrow, so or tonight, basically. So I'm glad I got this all finished before this part, at least finished before I'm going out there. So let's see. Wiring it. This thing flips up like this. And you can see inside of it. The wiring's really messy, but I'm going to have to unplug all of this anyways because I want to put a graphic here, obviously. When I undid these, when I pulled off the vinyl panel, I mean, obviously this looks ugly. It looks like there was like a million games that were installed in this cabinet before, like all these extra holes and buttons, button spots and joystick spots. It looks like, if you look over here, this looks like a key for a basketball court, like a free throw line. And so this probably used to be some sort of like basketball game. I don't know if it was like NBA Jam or what, but you can tell like some of these button placements like this could have been like, there's a spot here, 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 and here for joysticks. So that was like a 4-person game at one point. I can't imagine playing a 4-person game on this thing. This thing's kind of narrow, but maybe I might put in 4 controls, or I might build a whole new console and put 4 players in. Depends on how I feel, or if I ever get like 4 people who actually want to play this thing at once, or 3 people that want to play it at once. It's mostly just fun at like a 2-player game and 2-player games. So I'm going to put like a whole new graphic on here that I've designed. I have to figure out if I want to get it printed with vinyl or printed with paper maybe. It'd be a lot cheaper. We'll see how it looks. I might just like try to print out a piece of paper and put it over this thing, and like a thick piece of paper, and see how it looks. What else? I don't have a lot of ideas for the graphics for the actual cabinet itself, but that'll come to me later maybe, and for the marquee itself. Basically, what's left is getting the computer ready, getting the hardware all ready, and putting it all in there, and hooking power up to it, which should be pretty simple. I need to get like a automatic switch that when you turn on the switch, it'll turn on everything, or just set the computer to when it is plugged in, it automatically turns on. But you can set in the BIOS of some machines. Let's see what else. Hooking the sound up. There's a speaker. I'm not sure if you can see it, but up there you can kind of see it. I'm not sure if that speaker works, but it should be pretty easy to replace and to mount a new speaker in there. That'd be fun. Let's see. Getting the monitor. That's the hardest part, is getting a monitor to put in here. They don't make 4x3 monitors anymore. You can't just buy one off a Newegg or something like that to put in here, and they're all flat screen. And flat screens would look good in here, but they make a 4x3 flat screen for arcade cabinets, but they're $500, and I'm not going to spend $500 on that. That's insane. So, I'm thinking about like maybe getting an old TV to put in there. That would probably, if it would fit, that'd be the best option because, especially if it had S video, because that would like generate those scan lines that look really good in arcade cabinets. Um, but I'm not sure like a whole TV would fit. Like this thing's pretty skinny, like right here. Like, I'm not sure how well you can see this, um, but after that it should be all hooked up. I might hook the coin doors up to the console. The console all runs, all these wires and everything run into this little tiny device right here, this little guy, that runs USB just like right into the computer. It's just USB. And I might be able to hook up the coin doors to that little thing and actually make it so that the coin doors worked with the, so they, you could actually like press on them for coins or whatever instead of pressing the top buttons that I've created here and here for coins, and these buttons I could repurpose and do something else. There's a lot of like UI stuff I could do because this, in terms of software, I want to make my own interface, which I'm on the way of doing, coding it myself. Something that will make it easy to switch between, arcade and N64 and Steam, and I want to have like a music player in there, so like hooking Spotify up to it too would be really fun, so you could like listen to, whatever you want while you're playing Battletoads instead of the Battletoads music, or whatever. And coding that so far has been pretty easy. I've hit a few snags, and I started out trying to do it because I'm a web developer, so trying to do it through web interfaces, which proved to be kind of hard because it would have worked except for this is running Windows. It would have worked running Linux, but not Windows, because Windows has a problem with like PHP launching other processes. So like having PHP launch like the N64 wouldn't work very well. So I moved over to Java and used Swing for a while, and that didn't have good animation support, so I ditched that. And then I went over to Qt, which is basically what I'm using now, Qt, to do the interface. It's not on here, but basically what I've got now is just a very basic thing. When you boot it up, it just goes to this little menu that says either go to Steam or go to console games or arcade games, or go play music. And so I'm kind of figuring that whole thing out. It's got little bugs, but I think I'm going to probably be able to finish it up while I'm in Europe, while I'm away, so I can come back and just install it and have everything running when I get home. But yeah, that's it. That took 18 minutes. That took way longer than I thought. But here it is. And yeah, cool.